In Canvas, in our Canvas course shell, we can control what the students see on the left-hand side menu of the course, and we can even remove certain items that we are not using. To do so, we come to our Canvas course. When we are in the home page, we scroll all the way down, so on the left-hand side, we see Settings. When we click the word Settings, we see course details. Normally, this is what we see by default, showing us the image for the course if we set one up, the name of the course, and all that information. When does the course start? What term is it? All that information is here. But on the top, we have course details, sections, navigation, apps, and feature options. If we go to navigation, which is the third option on the top, we will see a list of all the different items inside of our course. So this is the list of items available by default. Below this list are a whole bunch of items that are not normally turned on. Then you could choose to turn on by dragging them to the top if you are using them. So for example, if you are using Turning Point in your course, you can click on Turning Point, hold down the left mouse button, and then drag it up to this list right here. We can put it at the end, and now Turning Point is enabled. We just have to click Save. Once we have clicked Save, we can see that above Settings, we now have Turning Point. So we can enable some of these ones that are disabled if we're using them. So if you're using a McGraw-Hill book and are using Connect to pull to connect to items that they've created, you can do that. If you're using MyLab and Mastering, you can enable that from here as well. If you're using Pearson Revel, again, you can enable that as well, depending on which publisher you are using. But let's deal with the items that we have on by default. So all of these items are on by default. You and the students are seeing these items. So let's say that you are not using some of these items. How do you remove these? So some of them remove from the students, but you still have access to see them, and some are removed completely. So let's start with an example of things that can be removed completely. So record name and roster recording. If you're not using this, it's a tool to allow you to have the students provide an audio recording of how their name is pronounced. It's a great tool, but let's say you're not making use of it and you want to disable this so your menu is not so long and has items that are not used by you. What we're going to do is we're going to click on record name, hold down the left mouse button, and drag it down to this area down here. Below, drag items here to hide them from the students. So now this has been moved. Let's do the same with roster recording. Holding down the mouse button, dragging this down. So let's save so you can see what happens when I disable something like a record name. You can see that I've disabled it and it no longer shows up even for me. So a lot of items that are external to Canvas, like record name or lockdown browser, or Follet Discover, all the tools from publishers like McGraw-Hill, those, when you drag them down, they disappear from your view as well. So let me drag down a couple of other items. But let's say that you don't want the students to see the list of assignments. Let's say that you have decided to link the assignments to the students in a certain way and you don't want them to see the entire list of assignments in one look and only want them to access it from modules or a page that you've created. You can remove assignments from the view of the students. So if I click on assignments, I hold down my left mouse button and I go all the way down in this area. I have now remove the assignments from the student view. Notice that I still have assignments over here on the left hand side, instead of being at the top where it was, it's now at the bottom. So everything above assignments are things that you and the students can see and access. Below the word studio, these two over here are items in Canvas that are part of a Canvas course that you've hidden from the students, but you can still use. So when you click on assignments, you can still continue to create and see your assignments here, but your students can't just access the list of assignments this way. Of course, if you remove their ability to see the list of assignments, then you must make sure that they are linked to the assignments they have to complete in modules or pages in some other fashion. So if you have an assignment, so let's look at this particular course over here. If I have these assignments over here and I disable assignments from the students, let's do that. I can still link these assignments and the students will be able to see them. So we go to navigation, we drag down assignments, we click save. Now you can see that assignments is now all the way down here. I can click it and still see the assignments I have right here. So I'm going to link participation from a module. Let's see if we have that already linked. Yeah, we have that already linked from a module. So let's go. We're going to go to student view so you can see what happens to the students when I do this. So notice on the left-hand side, as we're going through all these options, we do not have assignments link over here on the left-hand side. However, because I have a module that links to some of those assignments, the students can still access those assignments right here from the module without seeing my list of all assignments. They just see the ones that I want them to see at this time. So I can click, for example, participation, that is still an open assignment, and I can see the assignment and I can do anything I need to. This one has no submission, but I can have a presentation. And again, I can access the assignment right there from those links. So just because I disabled their ability to just see all of the assignments doesn't mean that they can't access the ones that I've linked from the module. So this way I can control what the students see when they see it. Another example I'm going to give is, for example, if you're not making use of the syllabus feature, you're choosing to share your syllabus in a module or a different way, you can also disable syllabus. So there is another way of disabling it other than just moving it down here. You can click the three dots, vertical dots to the right of the name of the area you want to disable. And when you click, you can choose disable from the menu that comes up. And now syllabus has been moved all the way down here in the second section. And if I click save, syllabus is no longer up here. It is all the way down here. It is no longer available to the students. But because syllabus is a part of a Canvas course, it is still available for you to use if you need to. The last thing I'm going to mention having to do with this menu is that you can choose to organize this menu as you wish. So for example, if I want grades to be at the very bottom, I can click and hold down the left mouse button and move it down to grades. The other method is, for example, if I want files to be higher up, I can click the three vertical dots to the right of the word files. And instead of choosing disable, I click move. And now I have some options popping up on the right-hand side. By default, it says at the top, but I can also choose to move it before a certain item, after a certain item, or at the bottom. So for example, I'm going to choose after, and then I'm going to choose after home. So it'll be the second item on the list. So I chose after home, then I click move. And now files is the second item on the list, and I can scroll all the way down and save. So through the navigation area of this course settings, I can choose what the students see, what we have enabled in the course, and also in what order do the students see the content that I'm providing them.